Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with will Larry Bird dominate today's NBA? And when you say dominate, like, does it mean he would be the best player in today's NBA, or does it mean that he would be great? He would be just, because I believe Larry Legend would transcend eras. Larry Legend would be great in any era. Larry Legend would be absolutely amazing. But like dominate the entire NBA, would he be the best player in today's NBA? No, I don't think so. And so I don't know what you mean by dominate, but he would be great. He would be a legend still. He would be a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He would not be the best player in the NBA. But before we dive into this, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. I got social media and Patreon all up top. You guys want to subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human, I talk back. What we got, Larry?
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean David. Let's talk some old school basketball. Having an old school YouTube NBA channel, of course, sometimes I gotta be honest and admit that I'm a little bit biased when it comes to comparing former NBA players to today players. But that has also a lot
As long as you know, my guy. As long as you know.
When it comes to comparing former NBA players to today players. But that has also a lot to do with, hey, I was a witness of the golden age of NBA basketball. Having said that, in this video, I want to take one of my favorite players, Larry Bird, and show you guys why I feel that he would still dominate in today's NBA. But before we start with this video, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also click on the notifications button so you always get notified when I upload a new video. And I would say, let's get right into this stuff.
LeBron's physical, if not athletic ability is a gift. Larry's IQ and basketball competitiveness is, uncanny. Like Larry's ability to make tough shots, his shooting, his IQ is just, man, come on, man.
So how am I going to approach this? Well, there are some major categories like scoring, defensively, and all this kind of stuff, which I want to take a look at Larry Bird's capability and see if he would still match up in today's game. Okay, I want to start off by addressing the elephant in the room and also the reason why most younger folks don't think that Larry Bird could match up in today's game. Let's be honest, today's game is way faster, and of course the average player today can still jump out of the building, which you can't compare with the 80s and the 90s, okay? Even I as an old school fan have to admit to that. But even in the 80s you had the more athletic guys and some guys who weren't athletic at all but still were very good basketball players. I mean, even a Magic Johnson is not the most athletic guy in the world, but still we're talking today about the best point guard of all time. And a more recent example is Dirk Nowitzki. Even the younger Dirk Nowitzki was never athletic, but still that guy could score. Why?
Yeah, because Dirk's 7 foot and that fadeaway was unstoppable. It's not a lot of people that's gonna block a 7-footer's jumper. There's just not a lot. And then he gets you with you're so scared of it. Then he hits you with a pump fake, take you to the rack. Dirk was nasty.
Was Dirk Nowitzki. Even the younger Dirk Nowitzki was never athletic, but still that guy could score. Why? Because he figured a way out how to be productive without being athletic. So if somebody wants to tell me that Larry Bird couldn't be productive in today's game because he's not athletic, sorry, but not a chance. Some of the greatest players of all time have not been really athletic. I mean, Paul Pierce, John Stockton, Magic Johnson, and even some of the great players of today like Steph Curry and Chris Paul aren't the most athletic guys in the world. They're way more important things to the game than being athletic, even in today's game.
Facts. For sure.
And the next category, which is scoring, basically goes hand in hand with the first one. So how can Larry Bird, who was not fast, can't run, can't jump, is going to score in today's game? Well, he was the slowest guy back in the 80s, and he was still able to score. Why? Because that guy was versatile and a very smart player. Plus, he had a go-to move. I mean, now you look at Luka Doncic and you say, wow, that guy can score because he has that great step back. Well, Larry Bird was doing that in the 80s. You have to remember, that guy was 6'9", had a very high release, and could literally shoot over everybody. Plus, if you take a closer look to his game, that guy had so many moves he was just impossible to figure out.
Yeah.
And he was the master of making difficult shots. Now let me tell you what would make Larry Bird unstoppable and unguardable in today's game and even stand out in today's game. You have to remember, back in the days, not many bigs were shooting the threes. Larry Bird is a 6'9" guy who was shooting around 40% in most of his seasons. Of course, in today's game, that is nothing special. But how many big players do we have that can shoot a three, have a really good post game, and be one of the best passers in the NBA? Exactly, and that makes him unguardable. If you give him too much room, he will shoot right in your face. If you guard him close, he will take you to the post and rip you apart. And if you are a good defender and try to make life miserable for him, he will always find the open man. And that worked back in the 80s, and believe me, that will still work in today's game.
Yeah, I think Larry scoring definitely wouldn't slow down in today's game. Because I feel like Luka finds a way. He's not the most athletic, he's not the fastest, but he's very crafty. When I watch him, he's very crafty in how he scores the ball. Larry Bird, you wouldn't be able to stop him. Like they couldn't stop Larry, you wouldn't be able to stop Larry from getting his buckets. He just has too many moves. He's
man, and that worked back in the 80s, and believe me, that will still work in today's game.
I agree with that.
Next on my list, I have the clutchness gene, and no matter if it's the 70s, the 80s, or today, that is something that not many players have. I mean, back in the days, you had guys like Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, and so on. And in today's game, of course, we got a Damian Lillard, we got a Kawhi Leonard, and a handful of other guys who can make shots when the game's on the line. But Larry
Dame's my favorite current basketball player. Damian Lillard's my favorite current basketball player. Dwayne Wade's my all-time favorite basketball player. But can we look at how deep? Look how deep this sidestep three. It's not just a shoot. He sidestepped. Sidestep three from this. That's crazy, guys. This play is crazy. And he shoots it. He's not like trying to force it. He's not trying. It's a regular jumper. He's shooting it like a regular jumper. Sidestep from three from this distance is insane.
Had guys like Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, and so on. And in today's game, of course, we got a Damian Lillard, we got a Kawhi Leonard, and a handful of other guys who can make shots when the game's on the line. But Larry Bird was the master of making the shot when the game mattered. And having that quality today would make him a valuable asset to any team.
Big time. Larry's
seconds to go. This is it. You can count it down with me. Bird inbounds. It comes to Maxwell. Max puts it on the floor. We're down to 6. Bird in the corner. Double fake. Jumper. Score!
Crazy. Crazy.
2 seconds left. Listen to the crowd.
He wasn't out to play basketball for the money. He was out there to step up and win and look in your eyes and say to you, you can't beat me.
Clear it out a bit for John. Larry tries to fight his way through with Barkley all over him. They're not going to call a foul. Goes to Bird. He's open. Got it. At the buzzer.
Well, we wondered if he had the magic again. There it was.
He had unshakable confidence. If he could get his shot off, he felt like we was going to win the ball game.
2-point Maverick lead. Bird's the man they want to have it. Yes, indeed.
Bird for 3. Yes. Larry Bird for 3. Celtics lead it by 1. What can you say about Larry Bird?
The next category is also a very important one: hustle. I mean, let's be honest. How many NBA superstars you see, especially in nowadays NBA, who hustle for every loose ball?
They not hustling. Like, when I see these highlights of Larry hustling, I don't know who hustled like Larry was hustling, bro. I don't know who would be throwing a body like that, bro. Like, Larry was throwing his body on the line to try to save a ball that he probably didn't even think he could save, and he's still going after it. It's crazy.
You see, especially in nowadays NBA, who hustle for every loose ball. And Larry Bird was doing that even in his 30s, in his mid-30s. When his back was hurting and that guy could hardly walk, that guy was hustling for every loose ball. And this is something that you have to understand. There are certain qualities that are bigger than the era. No matter if it's the 50s, the 60s, or even until today, a great hustle player is always valuable to your team. And having your superstar also being the most hustling guy on your team, man, that was crazy. I mean, let's be honest. How many of today's superstars are considered to be great hustle players? Case closed.
5 days. Tandem. Look at that. Harris drops it. Bird stepped on the line. It's Philadelphia ball, but that's... Look at that.
And that's with a 30-point lead, folks, with 4:05
30-point lead. That's crazy.
And the next category on my list is toughness. So let's start with the mental toughness.
Definitely one
Larry
of the
Bird
most
is known
tough.
to be the best trash talker in NBA history. Why? Because he could actually back it up. You can talk to any NBA legend from the 80s and the 90s. They will all confirm Larry Bird would tell you what he would do, and he would do it. I mean, how crazy was that?
When a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots. And, Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans. In that game, we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side across the three, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
And of course, then there's the physical toughness. I mean, back in the days, guys couldn't sit out. You had to play your 82 games, and if you didn't play, you were seriously injured. I mean, having that mentality in today's game, sacrificing your body and understand the obligation to give it 100% every single night, that quality simply goes a long way.
Big time.
The next category has to be one of my favorite ones. It's the passing. I think Larry Bird was one of the most underrated passers in NBA history simply because that guy was amazing when it came to passing. To me, actually, he was almost as good as Magic Johnson. That guy has that so-called passing gift. Back in the days, and even until today, it's not so common that tall players actually have a good court vision, but Larry Bird literally could see the floor so well, always seeing the open man and create for his teammates.
Just try to figure out the angles in the game. I was very fortunate. I was brought up under great coaching at a young age, how to put yourself on the court where you're in triple threat position all the time and always know where you're at on the court, even if you're not looking at the basket. So it's been great for me to learn under some of the greatest coaches that you could ever have in high school. And as I went along, all I did was just try to get better and better, learn the fundamentals, and throw my own little kick to it.
Look at that pass.
The one thing I did have, Kevin, I had a vision to sort of understand what my teammate was going to do on pick and rolls, whether he's going to dive to the basket, where he wanted the ball.
Bird, beautiful pass to Ford.
I picked that stuff up early in high school. I could figure out my teammates pretty well.
Bird, slap pass to Archibald. Bird on the cut. Beautiful.
Yeah, hey, Larry was definitely dropping dimes. Larry was definitely, he was definitely a team player. He was about team, and he knew how to utilize his teammates. And I absolutely love that about his game. Larry would be an incredible passer.
Bird on the cut. Beautiful.
And the last two categories that I have on my list is defense and basketball IQ. I already mentioned earlier that Larry Bird was never the fastest guy, nor was he the most athletic guy. But this is exactly where the basketball IQ comes in. You don't have to be the fastest guy to be a good defender. You don't have to jump the highest to be a good defender. If you know how to position yourself, have a good communication on defense, there are ways how to defend even faster guys. And back in the days, Larry Bird had to guard some of the best players of all time, and he was capable of doing that. And there's a very interesting story from Isaiah Thomas, which confirms how smart Larry Bird was defensively.
I'll never forget, everything just started, it went in slow motion. Jess Kersey is standing there, I'm looking at him, and we froze, we celebrating, and Jess Kersey starts to count, because he's standing there and he has the one count. So I run over, we look at the bench, no timeout, nothing. So I run over and I grab the ball, and this is probably one of the most incredible plays that's ever happened against me and that probably I've ever witnessed. From an athletic standpoint, two people being in sync and Bird just playing every second. And that's what the Celtics taught us, to play every second, not to play 47 and a half minutes, but to play a full 48. So I grabbed the ball from the referee. Lambier's a good foul shooter. I never had taken the ball out. That wasn't my thing, right? I throw it up. Bird sneaks in. I didn't even see him. But the thing I remember the most is that joker. This is the out of bounds line. That joker caught the ball, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, he going out of bounds. That dude did this, like a ballerina. Right? And if you go back and you watch the play, that dude is on his toes. The baseline is right up under his toes. And in my mind, he must have stood there for about 5 seconds because everything was going in slow motion in my mind, right? And it's like, I'm like, and then it's just a strange moment. I'm like, damn, how you doing that? And then DJ, out of nowhere, right?
Right.
They are so in tune. They are so in sync. He catches Bird hits him. He catches the basketball, lay it up.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ lane. Right at 1 second left.
All right, to conclude, how will Larry Bird do in today's NBA? And I know this is going to rub you young cats the wrong way, but I feel that Larry Bird still will be the best player in the NBA. Even with a Kevin...
Stop it. I feel this going to rub you old cats the wrong way. Stop it. Larry will be legendary, and I hate doing this because I feel like I'm taking away from who Larry Bird was, and I definitely don't want to take away from the legend that Larry Bird is, the incredible basketball player that he was, and what he did for basketball. Like, I don't want to take away from any of that. He would be a superstar. He would be a Hall of Famer today. He would not be the best player in the NBA. I'm sorry. He would not be, out of all the players in the NBA, he would not be numero uno. He would be great, but not number one.
Cats the wrong way, but I feel that Larry Bird still would be the best player in the NBA. Even with a Kevin Durant and all those guys, that guy was a unique talent. And if I would have to put it in numbers, I think he would still average about 28 points per game, still get his 8 to 10 rebounds, still average 6 to 7 assists, and he would still stand out in today's game simply because of his high basketball IQ.
All right, that's what we got for that one. Incredible video. Larry Bird's an incredible talent that will transcend eras. I have no doubt about that. And like I said, he'd be a Hall of Famer in any era. He's Larry Bird, and what he's did for the game of basketball, it's completely amazing. But that's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out.